Hello, and welcome to the About Healing podcast, a show created for those on or awakening into their spiritual journeys, and who are ready, wanting, and learning how to heal themselves. I am your host, About Healing medium and certified spiritual healer, Sheree Buckman. It is my purpose to guide others to the path of self-healing and to inspire those on their spiritual journeys in finding their truths. Join me as I share my experience and unfiltered perspective in healing, as well as the incredible wisdom of the loving energy that guides us. Let's begin. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to About Healing podcast. Good morning, Miss Copper.
Good morning. How is your day going?
Good. As normal, I am trying to refocus my mind into the topic after conversations with Copper. I mean, if our conversations were truly recorded before we got on, that would be an entirely different show. It could not be aired on this one.
No, it definitely would be explicit. Yeah.
Because that's the thing. We like to vent out what's happening with us or our children or life in general. So it is part of our therapy before we get going into an episode.
Our beautiful, sweet children, by the way, we're not venting about them. We are venting about them. Yes, but
it is. It's about us, keeping sane and understanding the things that are going on behind the scenes. Like, does your child do this? Because mine does this. Oh, I totally get what you're doing. Yeah. Mine does it too. We're not alone. You're not alone either. So after last week's episode, I really hope that you have found a little bit more clarification or guidance or assistance in understanding forgiveness and the importance of it and how you can go about it. But we are not done with forgiveness yet. I could not complete our forgiveness episodes without talking about one other extremely important piece, which is about the forgiveness of ourselves, self-forgiveness. While offering forgiveness for others can be difficult, I have found, not only through my own experiences, but also working with clients and, being an empath and understanding people at another level, the hardest part about forgiveness is forgiving yourself. But it is also the most important form of forgiveness. And it's also the hardest because you're not waiting for someone else to do it for you. It's something that you have to do yourself. It's about doing the work and understanding and changing your perspectives. And so that is what this episode is about. I want to redescribe and explain again about our purpose here and what it is and what it means to forgive yourself. At the end of our life, the only person or being that judges is ourself. And I want to take a minute and allow that to sink in. Because for some people, I know it is something that you've been brought up, especially if you're a part of religion and thinking that there are other higher beings that need to forgive you or that you need to repent to or have to make good with to make sure that you can find peace. But as I mentioned in previous episodes, your departed ones, your departed loved ones, they already forgive you, no matter the circumstance. And without the ego, there is full and total awareness. And as I have shared before, it is to understand that our entire purpose of our existence on this planet is to learn and evolve. So if it is our purpose to be here to learn and therefore evolve, what do you think our greatest teachers are? Those teachers are failure and experience. When we are in our natural form, when we are in our natural home of light, which is only the best way I can describe it, whether you describe it as heaven, whether you describe it as the universe or whatever, fill in the blank. We are in a state of pure love and understanding. Like I said, there's no ego there. We are in this existence of no secrets, no shame, no guilt. We all understand and we see everything. We are always seeking, and it's a natural thing. We naturally seek to understand all the secrets of the universe. Just kind of as we do here, that curiosity here in our human form of wanting to know the answers or, all those big secrets. So while we are in our natural form, we are always seeking. This is like a natural thing. We are always seeking to understand all the secrets of the universe, sort of speak, because it's the best type of expression I can put on it when it's hard to put into words. But when we are in this state and we are outside of a lifetime or this human experience, we are still always trying to learn. So I have had, for me personally, and I have seen this in other sessions, because within sessions I can pull up between lives, past lives, so on and so forth. And so for myself, I am often found in the Akashic records. And for those of you who don't know what the Akashic records are, the Akashic records is like a library of every intention, thought, word, and action that has ever existed, exists, or will exist. Yeah, that's big. It's everything. We're always trying to learn and understand. And you have to think about it though. But like any scientist who is trying to understand things that are more theoretical, because while we're studying and we're trying to understand what it means to feel these certain heavy emotions or to experience certain scenarios, rather than to judge it and say, oh, I would do that. How do you know? What would you really do? In order for us to fully perceive a thought or a theory, we choose to do the actual experiment to truly understand it, which brings us here, which brings us into the human experience and the reason why we come here. We're here to obtain the wisdom. We can obtain the knowledge over there, but the wisdom comes with the experience. And do you want to know what some of the big questions we have in our light form about incarnating on Earth? One of them is about what would we do, or how would we survive without the knowledge of the universe at hand? With the full knowledge of what we know, the full awareness, what would we do with it? I mean, think about it. That's what we're doing. We don't know. We're trying to seek truths. We're trying to understand things. And the other question is too, and while we're, especially when we haven't been in lives or we're outside of that life, it's that question of why do humans make life so hard on themselves? It's like us watching a movie and we're yelling at the movie or yelling at the character in the movie. Why are you doing this to yourself? Just go to him, or just go do this, or just don't do that. And you can see the picture clearly, but it's different when you're in it, which brings us to the reason for our topic today. And I had to share this whole background again about the purpose of why we're here, because this is here to help bring a different perspective. And the most interesting truth is we are our own worst enemies. We are our own worst enemy. We hold grudges against our past actions or inactions and judge every thought that goes through our mind more than anybody else. And we've brought up the whole judgment factor so many times before, but I want you to understand, remember, those who judge others, and the more they do it, just know they're holding even heavier judgments for themselves, which is why it is being expressed to bring the focus off of them rather than onto themselves. And that's hard, thinking about that, and that we hold all this, and that's heavy. But this is the challenge. It is the mind, it's the ego, and it's the overactive thinking. And we're really good at that. I know I am. Doesn't matter how much work I've been doing or where I'm at. I am human. I have an ego, will always have an ego, no matter how much work I do for myself or how much I am evolving. It is still part of this human experience. But it's, again, that awareness. But I am an overthinker to the core completely. I am thinking 15 steps ahead, and then those branch out into a more other 15 steps of each of those. And it's a lot. And it becomes a rabbit hole spiral of seeing the worst in ourselves in every situation or possibility, because we are auto-programmed to go there. We're auto-programmed to go there until we come to awareness to focus or shift it somewhere else. These grudges and these judgments against ourselves, the self-loathing, all of these big emotions to the self is a very heavy cycle that holds you back from the greatness, from your greatness. Remember that these heavy emotions create the blocks in your energy and manifestation power. The heavier it is, the more thicker the block, because what you feel and what you put out is what you will get in return. We are energetic magnets that way, but it's all about the tuning of what you're putting out. Have you ever looked at others and wondered, and I'm talking about the ones who are blissfully happy, the ones that are manifesting and creating the impossible, and they make it look so easy, the ones with that limitless energy and positivity? Do you ever wonder how they get there or how they do that? I bring this up, honestly, for two reasons. It's to be aware of where your energy is at. For some, being around those type of people may make you cringe at the positivity or snark at the happy sunshine and rainbow attitude. But the reason that is, and the reason that you may not be so embracing of being near that energy, is because you're not aligned with that vibration and it feels too much, because you're getting used to carrying the heaviness and sitting in the heavy emotions, that denseness. And those that have gotten to that point and can sit blissfully happy, pouring out positivity and manifesting like crazy, it's because they're a lot lighter. The vibration is higher and they have gotten to a place. And I'm going to tell you, and it's not easy. Every single person, including the high vibrating people, have experiences, have trauma, have been through things that have weighed them down, but they've come to a place to choose to not only let go and forgive the things that have happened to them by other people, but also finding forgiveness in themselves from the choices they are making. You do have the power to create that. And I am not saying it's easy though, because you have to look at pretty much every episode in the topic that we have done thus far in this season. We are talking about removing fear, becoming authentic in your own self, taking responsibility for your thoughts, for your actions, for life, learning to love yourself. All of these pieces are all a package of bringing you to a place of being able to offer this self-forgiveness. Forgiving yourself requires a change of perspective. This is how we begin to learn how to forgive ourselves. It is about understanding, truly understanding, that the mistakes and failures are a natural and normal experience for every single person that exists, that has existed and will exist. But our choices and our actions, not one of them, define us. Not any of them define you. Your choices and your actions are merely a reflection of how you feel at that time. Because if you were hurt and you were angry and you have these big emotions and you don't know what to do with them, it causes you there to make choices out of anger and frustration. And then sometimes looking back and saying, oh, why did I do that? I wish I hadn't. Look what else I'm causing. And then it's something else that you're piling on top of yourself to take in. And then that's another layer of heaviness. All of our choices and actions, especially the mistakes and the failures, especially those, they are the forks in the road to force us into new directions or to bring an awareness of our thoughts, intentions, and or actions. And it's hard to see all that. And it's hard to look and change the perspective if you're so deep in shame, if you're so deep in the judgment and the harsh emotions that you carry for yourself. It's hard to see this because everything does. I believe I mentioned in another episode that when we carry these really big emotions, it blinds us. And then it's really hard to see what is going on when we're in it. But there is a reason for everything. There is a lesson behind it. And when you can come to the place of finding the lesson or the reasons, it offers a little bit more clarity and understanding, and then removing a layer of that heaviness and harshness that we are holding against ourselves. And you have to realize too that some of these lessons and some of these reasons are not necessarily about us, even though we have made a choice or this big mistake or this giant failure, whatever it was, and it involved somebody else. There is still always the possibility, and a big, huge possibility, that it happened not only for your own lessons and choices and your own direction for your own journey, but also for somebody else. And they could only see it clearly if it happened outside of their own actions. You are human just like everybody else on this planet. We all make mistakes and we all make choices we regret. But that regret should be a short-term emotion only carried until you learn to see and understand the purpose of the choice and then let it go. The truest goal is to not feel regret at all, but to come to a place of understanding compassion, which is absolutely the reason we, as souls, choose to incarnate on earth as humans with egos so that we can love and forgive others and ourselves without the awareness and the knowledge of the universe, so that we can learn and evolve as souls. So when we turn it all around, and if we can see the bigger picture of not just being right here in our dense individual life of holding all of those grudges and all those heavy emotions against ourselves, pull yourself out and look at the bigger picture that we're all doing it too. We are all making the mistakes. We are all holding judgments. And it's okay that you made a mistake. It is okay that you failed. What do you do with it thereafter? How do you change it? What do you learn from it? One of the hardest lessons we go through in any lifetime, and sometimes it may take us several lifetimes to learn how to forgive ourselves. But no matter the circumstance, you can be forgiven. Absolutely no matter what it was. Even the worst actions can be forgiven because you are not defined by that action. It was where you were, but it's not where you are. It was the emotion you carried before that you allowed to get to a place where you let that feeling out of control. You let it out. But how do we learn from it, and how do we change from it? Forgiving yourself, though, that's a choice. Even if others don't forgive you, that is separate, completely separate. And you can offer yourself forgiveness. Because if they hold on to the anger, if they hold on to the hurt, if they're holding on to the resentment, remember that's their energy they're holding. That is not yours. The forgiveness you're seeking is your own. We are growing and we are learning in every situation. The forgiveness you seek or the mercy you pray for is not from a higher being that controls your fate or soul or your destiny. The only energy that can do that is you. Every energy of higher vibrations, those we have lost and have crossed over, our guides, God, universal source, so on and so forth, they do not need to forgive you because they never held judgment or the heavy emotion towards you in the first place. They're your choices or anything else. They understand from the highest perspectives that we all are learning and growing. We may have to live from the consequences of our choices and take the accountability. But the harshest punishment you can put yourself through is what you do for yourself, which is the self-hatred, and it's those big, heavy emotions. But now it's time to surrender to your own self, to forgive yourself, to love yourself, because you absolutely do deserve it. If you want it, and if you are seeking it, then you are coming into the awareness and taking accountability, and the forgiveness is there. You just have to choose it. To help guide you through this act of forgiveness, whether it is for somebody else or yourself, please see the bonus guided meditation 3 episode. Until next time, you beautiful souls, be kind to yourself. With so much love and gratitude, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode. My hope today is that the message continues to guide you along your path to healing. To learn more about me and my purposeful work, visit my website at abouthealingmedium.com. You can also follow About Healing Medium on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find the episode's healing guidance, quotes, tips, insights, and chances to win free stuff. To ask a question or to share comments, email me at abouthealingpodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to reach me on Facebook and Instagram at About Healing Medium. Until next time, be kind to yourself.